Good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining me here today. We are going to look at one of my little favorite products here, chocolate truffles with cannabis butter. Pretty straightforward, simple, comes out of my kitchen, easy to make, few ingredients. Basically is we're going to have 8 ounces of chocolate from a chocolate bar, 4 tablespoons of can of butter, some walnuts, almond flour, salt, and then of course we're going to have our important part of what we're going to roll it into, and you can see we're going to do some cocoa powder, peanut butter powder, powdered sugar. A bowl is really pretty much what you need to do, just be able to melt the chocolate here for us. First thing I'm going to do is go after the walnuts. I'm going to break them up, but I'm not going to crush them into a powder. I've got almond flour for that. I just want the texture of the walnut, so basically just pound them out flat. Then we're going to jump into basically then going into making our recipe here for us. So the recipe with the nuts, like I said, is pretty straightforward. We're just going to use some Hershey's chocolate. I use milk chocolate. This is almond flour. I'm just popping open the bag. Got this at my local grocery store here for us. That is cannabis butter I made 2-3 months ago. This is a pound of chocolate. Pretty basic, pretty simple. It's milk chocolate. You can use whatever chocolate you want. I like milk chocolate. It's a little bit on the lighter side than the dark chocolate is, because we're going to roll these things in the cocoa powder later, so kind of don't really want it superly too chocolate here for us. Just going to break it up a little bit. Then what we're going to do is going to stick this into a double boiler. I'm just going to use one unit of can of butter at this point just to start melting with the butter. I don't want to get too much of it going at one time, just kind of a starting point for it. So basically, can of butter. Green and sticky here for us on a double boiler, of course. Don't want to burn it. I've tried it before without a double boiler, end up burning the chocolate and stuff. So I'm just working on a point of just getting it into a melted status. Nothing a little bit too much. You can see we tossed a little bit more can of butter in there. Just like I said, just trying to get this thing to work together to get more solidify here for us. As soon as I get it melted down, and this does take a few minutes, the video basically is shortened. You don't want to sit here and watch it for 5-10 minutes of it melting. It's on a double boiler, just got a barely bit of heat on it. As you can see, it's pretty much melted at this point. And so basically I'm just being careful here so we don't scorch it. Like I said, it's a double boiler. You can see the steam on the back of it here for us. Not an awful lot going on at this point, just kind of like letting it melt. Back and forth, back and forth. Okay, so then it gets into a consistency of liquid chocolate with a little bit of butter. I don't care if the can of butter is completely melted or not. There's residual heat. This stuff will eventually melt one way or the other here for us. Going to toss in the half a cup of walnuts, 2 tablespoons of the almond flour, and we'll just be gently putting in just a wee bit of salt. It's your preference. I think a little bit of salt just kind of helps to bring out the chocolate flavor a little bit. You don't have to put it in. Just regular table salt, nothing particular. At this point, I'm trying to cook down the flour. I've turned the heat off because there's plenty of heat here. I'm just trying to cook in the flour a little bit. It's already pretty tasty, but I want to make sure it kind of like cooks it a little bit. So after a couple of minutes, you got this little gooey mess. You need to cool it before you can play with it. And so what I'm going to do is dish this into a non-stick silicone container. I would suggest next time is to just maybe use a little spooning cup instead of this little thing here. It takes forever to do it like that here for us. At this point, it's just you're waiting for the chocolate to solidify up to room temperature. You could put it in the refrigerator if you want. So in the meantime, I've got my peanut butter flour. Basically, it's ready to rock and roll. We're going to do some cocoa powder. Whoops, a little bit too much cocoa powder. And then some peanut butter. I like the peanut butter. Some people do, some people don't. And if you've never tried it, you should. It's peanut butter, but it's dehydrated. I've got cocoa powder, peanut butter, and my last little thing here we're going to add to it is just a little bit of the powdered sugar. You can get this any place. I mean, there's nothing special here. I use parchment paper, the brown stuff. Switched over from using anything else. I just found that plastic wrap or aluminum foil or anything else just really didn't work for me. So I went out and got these little sheets. You can just buy 100 at a time. They come in a little box. It's parchment paper. Nothing sticks to it. So anyway, they've been cooling for about half an hour, something like that. And then basically at this point, we're just pulling them out, rolling them up, wrapping them one at a time. It is a manual task here. There is no shortcut to it. Pop them out, roll them one at a time. It does take time. By the way, each one of these I figured with doing some math and the can of butter and how many we made totally. These things come in about 20 milligrams of THC. So they look small, like there's not much to them, but surprise, surprise, they are quite intense for that. As you can see, I tried some rolling just with my gloves on, and ended up having to just kind of like really start rolling them with my hands without the gloves on. I think it makes it a little bit easier. My hands are a little bit warmer than going through the gloves for them. So I tried something a little bit different. There's different varieties of how you can try them. It's up to you. You can make it as large as you want, as small as you want. I'm looking for a silicone container, going to be looking out for one where I can just pipe these into, and if I can find one that's like a little ball, then I'll be a lot happier and stuff like that. So I've tried it with the gloves off, with the gloves on. As you just saw, I did it without the gloves, and I put the gloves back on, doing it again here for us. Lots of fun playing around with this stuff, but it's really easy. So anyway, at this point, they're done. Just basically need to let them sit. They're going to take about a good hour, room temperature. Just let them sit out. You can put them in the refrigerator if you want. You can see we made some chocolate ones, some powdered sugar, peanut butter ones. I want to thank my team that helped me out, do the photography and the video and stuff like that. We filmed it in Oregon. So you have a nice day. Thank you.